Hello everyone! I hope you're ready for another adventure because today Wayne continues to read The Fantastic Mr. Fox. Always remember that as we go through these amazing adventures and read these outstanding stories, all you have to do is press the CC button in your YouTube link in order to follow along with the words. Now I think North Star will be perfect to join us for today's adventure. Now that North Star's here, let's jump in. The Fantastic Mr. Fox, Chapter 4, The Terrible Shovels. Down the hole, Mrs. Fox was tenderly licking the stump of Mr. Fox's tail to stop the bleeding. It was the finest tail for miles around, she said between licks. It hurts, said Mr. Fox. I know it does, sweetheart, but it'll soon get better. It'll soon grow again, Dad, said one of the small foxes. It will never grow again, said Mr. Fox. I shall be tailless for the rest of my life. He looked very glum. There was no food for the foxes that night, and soon the children dozed off. Then Mrs. Fox dozed off, but Mr. Fox couldn't sleep because of the pain in the stump of his tail. Well, he thought, I suppose I'm lucky to be alive at all. And now they've found our hole. We're going to have to move out as soon as possible. We'll never get any peace if we... What was that? He turned his head sharply up and listened. The noise he heard was now the most frightening noise a fox could ever hear. The scrape, scrape, scrape of shovels digging into the soil. Wake up, he shouted. They're digging us out. Mrs. Fox was wide awake in a second. She sat up quivering all over. Are you sure that's it? She whispered. I'm positive, listen. They'll kill my children, said Mrs. Fox. Never, cried Mrs. Fox. But darling, they will, sobbed Mrs. Fox. You know they will. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch went the shovels above the heads. Small stones and bits of earth began falling from the roof of the tunnel. How will they kill us, Mummy? Asked one of the small foxes. His round eyes were huge with fright. Will there be dogs? He said. Mrs. Fox began to cry, gathered her 4 children close to her, and held them tight. Suddenly, there was an especially loud crunch right above their heads, and the sharp end of a shovel came right through the ceiling. The sight of this awful thing seemed to have an electric effect upon Mr. Fox. He jumped up in a second and shouted, I got it! Come on! There's not a moment to lose! Why didn't I think of it before? Think of what, Dad? A fox can dig quicker than a man, shouted Mr. Fox, beginning to dig. Nobody in the world can dig as quick as a fox. The soil began to fly out furiously behind Mr. Fox as he began to dig for dear life with his front feet. Mrs. Fox ran towards him to help. So did the 4 children. Go downwards, ordered Mr. Fox. We've got to go deep as we possibly can. The tunnel began to grow longer and longer. It sloped steeply downward, deeper and deeper. Below the surface of the ground it went. The mother and the father and all 4 of the children were digging together. Their front legs were moving so fast you couldn't see them, and gradually the scrunching and scraping of the shovels became fainter and fainter. After about an hour, Mr. Fox stopped digging. Hold it, he said. They all stopped. They turned and looked back at the long tunnel they had just dug. All was quiet. Phew, said Mr. Fox. I think we've done it. They'll never get us as deep as this. Well done, everyone. They all sat down, panting their breath. And Mrs. Fox said to the children, I should like you to know that if it wasn't for your father, we should all be gone by now. Your father is a fantastic fox. Mr. Fox looked at his wife and smiled. He loved her more than ever when she said things like that. Oh, wow. That was a really fun story with the Fantastic Mr. Fox, especially as they were able to get away. What did you think, North Star? Yeah, that scared me too, but I'm glad it worked out. We'll see you in the next adventure, okay? And we'll see you in the next adventure, here with Wayne Reads. Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye!